not going to be blowing all the time, so you have to figure out a way to storage it. So you have to figure out a way to store the power. So it's like they're researching right now is to be able to put it into under like old that places that we pulled natural gas out of. They want to be able to store it. I'm not sure exactly how the technology works, but we need to be able to, when it is windy and we have plenty of power, we need to be able to store that excess power for when it's not windy. That's why some lawmakers aren't looking at it as so viable. It's the same with solar. If it's cloudy, you're not gonna obviously get as much energy out of it. And the problem also is storing the energy once you have it.
Yeah.
Once that all catches up, probably in the next 10 years, it'll be a lot more viable.
Dustin says there's about 400 windmills the side of within a 5-mile range in Milwaukee.
Wow, that must be pretty cool looking.
That's what I'm saying. Also, Alex in the chat room wants to know what do you think the government can do to get more people to become aware of global warming?
How about come out and say that, yes, this is definitely a problem? You know what I mean? They just it just keeps getting pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. It's got to be recognized. And you know, there's so many scientists. The government, they have these scientists that you know, our government's ran by big business, and oil is a big business, and oil has a lot to do with it. So these oil guys hire these scientists. They go up there and lie through their teeth and say this isn't happening. When you got the other scientists that say it's irrefutable that it is happening. But until our government actually recognizes it in a more direct manner, like maybe having like commercials about it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And saying that this is happening, we better change how we live right now. It's going to be a slow process.
The other question he has is, aside from polar bears, what other animals are in the midst of possibly being extinct due to global warming?
From is he asking just from Antarctica? Well, there's plenty. There's too vast to name all the ones that I've heard. But then again, it's like the bald eagle's making a resurgence. The wolves are making a resurgence now to where they want to start killing the wolves again after we almost extincted them. You know what I'm saying? But I know for a fact, like I was telling you about, how the carbon it rains and then goes into our seas, and it directly reflects animals in there, even if it's small plankton. Plankton gets eaten by somebody else. So if there's a disruption in the food chain, then it's going to affect all of them.
Yeah. Also penguins, of course.
Yeah.
I think they're, yeah.
March of the Penguins. What a great documentary with Morgan Freeman. I love that.
You like that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I like Morgan Freeman, too.
Definitely. Baby doll, what do you think? Any other animals you could think of?
No, not off my. And I didn't watch March of the Penguins because I know it made me cry, and I didn't want to cry.
That's funny. But those penguins, they go through hell just to have a kid.
How miserable of a life do they have? I mean, to be a penguin, everything is eating you. You go down to the water, and you got the seals, the killer whales, everything. Things are like bouncing up on the shore trying to eat you. Then you're sitting in an egg for 3 months and like bitter cold.
Yeah, in those big circles, yeah.
That's like God's purgatory on earth right there.
Yeah,
that's what happens. The males sit on the egg while the females go back to eat, and then on their way back, there's all kinds of treacherous kind of animals that they have to make it back through. And I thought about the most fascinating thing is if you got like 10,000 penguins there, they know by the sound of their voice, they can like discern it. If there's another 1,000 penguins that they can listen to, and your mate goes into and talks, it can discern your voice out of those other 1,000.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing to me.
That is amazing.
But how many guys can hear their wife at a mall going, "Dear, come here"? So it's the same thing. It's just that needle-like tone to their voice that they can hear that anywhere. Across a crowded Walmart, they can hear it like, oh, Lord. You know it, too.
Yeah, well, we've only got about 8 minutes left. I do want to remind everybody that you can check out last week's episode by simply going back to the Blog Talk page. That's blogtalkradio.com/The Sandman's Last Call, as well as join in next week in the live chat at the same time. That's 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Blog Talk Radio, as we'll be joined by, of course, as always, Baby Doll, the Sandman, myself, and we'll be talking about cigarette smoke and the legalizing of marijuana.
Go 420.
Yeah.
It's got to be 420 somewhere in the world right now. That was always Van Dam's motto.
Yeah, that's a lot of people's mottos.
Yeah, I like it.
As well it should be.
Yeah, it should. Honestly, I mean, look at what marijuana does. I mean, it helps people.
It really does. And the only reason why it's not legal is because the government cannot, because we could all grow our own, is that the government cannot sanction it once they legalize it. There would be no way that the government could make money off of it, and that's one of the reasons why that they have it that it's not legalized at this time.
I agree.
Yeah, I'll let you wait for it, but I'll give you the exact reason of who got it. It was legal all the way up until 1936, but I'll wait till next week to tell you exactly, because the one guy lives in my neighborhood. It was his grandfather, the DuPonts, that had a lot to do with it getting illegalized.
Oh, wow. That's insane.
Very lot to do with it. Yeah, it had nothing to do with it. We'll get into it next week.
Here's one more.
To stay on my global warming.
Here's one more question from Alex R. It says, why do a lot of people doubt or not believe in global warming?
Because they're told there's so many different scientists saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. You know, there's a lot of disinformation.
I think a lot of people just watch the mainstream media and they don't look into it themselves. They just believe what they hear.
Heck, you were saying that the government has to tell us that it's bad, that this is something that we have to do. I think that someone else besides the government needs to tell us that something is bad, because otherwise, when the government tells us something, how many times do we go, oh, yeah, right, the government is telling, and we don't believe it.
It don't work.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's because how many times has the government lied to us, or the government has swerved us, or the government has said one thing and then it's the other one? I think that someone else, other than a government official such as like Al Gore or FDA or whatever, needs to come in here and say, these are the facts, this is it, you can look at it for yourself. Because anything that the government is telling me that, oh, yes, this is happening, I don't believe it. I just automatically just tune them out. I'm like a 4-year-old kid listening to their parents. I just tune them out because I don't believe what they're telling me.
Yeah, our government has totally worked this. I mean, look at Wall Street for instance. Wall Street is one big Ponzi scam. Every 15 years, it works in 15-year cycles, and it has been doing that for the past 150, 200 years in the United States. We just got caught with our problem was we got caught with a housing problem. We got a war, and then we have Wall Street, which has to purge itself of all its bad holdings, shall we
all
say?
The evil
it happens every 15 years. It's a big Ponzi scheme. It's like Bernie Madoff is really what Wall Street is.
Makes sense.
You just go back if you research a little bit. Every 15 years,